Have you ever wondered what separates a true titan of industry from just a forgotten footnote in business history? I mean, really think about it. You can have two companies launch with a brilliant idea, passionate founders, and plenty of cash. One goes on to become a household name. You know, it completely reshapes how we live and work. The other? It just vanishes. It's this high-stakes drama of vision, ambition, collapse, and triumph that plays out every single day in the global economy. The secret, the real secret, it lies in a single powerful discipline that works behind the scenes of pretty much every great human achievement. So let's pull back that curtain and explore the fundamentals of management.
So what is this invisible force? What's the critical variable that so often decides who wins and who loses? Is it just luck, a slightly better product, perfect market timing? Well, sure, all those things definitely play a part, but they are not the root cause. The real answer is something way more fundamental. It's a process that unfolds every day in every department at every single level of an organization. It's both an art and a science. The science of getting people and resources all pointed in the same direction, aiming for one ambitious goal.
That's right, management. Now, this is so much more than a title on a business card or a box on an org chart. It is the operating system of human achievement. Think of it like this. It's the conductor of the orchestra, the one who turns a bunch of noise into beautiful harmony. It's the architect of the skyscraper, turning a blueprint into a real-world landmark. It's the coach of the championship team, turning a group of talented individuals into a collective force. It is, without a doubt, the single most critical factor that turns a brilliant vision into a sustainable, successful reality. And look, understanding its fundamentals isn't just for CEOs. It's an essential skill for anyone who wants to make a real impact.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to build a complete framework so you can understand what management really is. We'll kick things off with why it matters, getting a really precise definition. Then we'll unpack the four-part blueprint that basically every manager uses. We'll take a look at the essential skills in a manager's toolkit and see how they change as you climb the ladder. We'll map out the entire organizational landscape. We'll even explore the 10 different hats a manager has to wear, sometimes all at once. And finally, we'll tie it all together to show you how this stuff applies to your path to leadership.
Okay, first things first. We've said that management is critical, but to really get it, we need to move past the metaphors and lock down a solid, robust definition. What are we actually talking about when we say the word management? Let's get right to the heart of it.
Now, this definition might look a little dense, but trust me, every single word here is crucial. Let's break it down. The whole point is the attainment of organizational goals, right? Everything a manager does has to serve a target, a destination. So how do they get there? Through planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Those are the four core functions, the engine of management that we're going to dive into. And what are they managing? Organizational resources. And that's not just people and money anymore. We're talking about information, technology, brand reputation, you name it. But honestly, the two most important words on this slide, the two concepts that can literally make or break a company, are effective and efficient. They sound similar, but the gap between them, well, understanding that is the first great lesson of management.
This is such a vital distinction. Efficiency is all about the how. It's about optimizing, minimizing waste, cutting costs, getting faster. It's all about the ratio of output to input. Are we coding the software with the fewest bugs possible? Are we manufacturing the product using the least amount of material? That's efficiency, doing things right. Effectiveness, on the other hand, is all about the what. This is strategy. It's about choosing the right goals in the first place. Are we even building software that customers are desperate for? Are we making a product for a market that's actually growing? That's effectiveness, doing the right things. The truly great companies, they master both. Failed companies, well, they often get really good at one and tragically ignore the other.
And this just illustrates the point perfectly. I mean, look at it. The craftsmanship on this spiral staircase is flawless. The metalwork is precise. The installation is solid. It's a masterpiece of efficiency. The task was completed perfectly, but the doors don't open. The staircase is completely useless. It leads absolutely nowhere. It is totally ineffective. An organization can be incredibly efficient at making a product nobody wants to buy. It can have the world's best call center for a service that's obsolete. It can do things right all the way into bankruptcy. The number one goal of great management is to be effective first, then efficient. First, pick the right staircase to build, then build it perfectly.
So how do managers actually achieve both effectiveness and efficiency?
Well, they don't just wing it. There's a proven 4-part blueprint, a systematic process that works everywhere, from tech startups to government agencies. Let's see how these pieces fit together to create the engine of management.
This cycle right here is the absolute core of a manager's work. Let's walk through it with an example. Say we're launching a new mobile app. It all begins with planning. This is where effectiveness is born. We decide what to do. What features will the app have? Who's our target audience? What's our goal for the first 6 months? 100,000 downloads? It's all strategy. Once the plan is set, you move to organizing. This is about building the machine. We assign a team of developers, a UI/UX designer, a marketing specialist. We give them a budget. We create a timeline with crystal clear responsibilities. Next up, and maybe the hardest part, is leading. A plan and a team are nothing without motivation. The manager has to inspire everyone, solve conflicts, communicate the vision, and just get people excited to bring the plan to life. And finally, controlling. This is our feedback loop. We track progress. Are we hitting our coding deadlines? Is the marketing campaign working? If we're falling behind on that goal of 100,000 downloads, we have to make corrections. Maybe we increase the ad budget or simplify a feature to launch faster. And as you can see, it's a continuous loop. The data from controlling feeds right back into the next round of planning, and the engine just keeps turning, always adapting, always improving.
Okay, so we've just looked at the process of management, the what they do. But now, let's zoom in on the manager as an individual. What specific skills does a person actually need to pull off that 4-part blueprint? Well, decades of research have boiled it all down to 3 core categories of skills, which make up the essential toolkit for any leader.
Let's look at these 3 tools. First up, conceptual skills. This is that 30,000-foot view, the ability to see the big picture. It's understanding how all the different parts of the company fit together, and, just as important, how the company fits into the bigger world of competitors, markets, and new tech. It's the very essence of strategic thinking. Second, we have human skills. This is all about emotional intelligence. It's the ability to communicate, motivate, delegate, and resolve conflict. Really, it's about genuinely understanding and working well with other people. And third, technical skills. This is just what it sounds like, knowing your stuff. It's the expertise in a specific area. For an engineering manager, that's knowing the code. For a marketing manager, it's understanding SEO. But here's the real kicker. While every manager needs all 3, the mix of these skills you need changes dramatically as you move up in your career.
This table right here reveals a powerful truth about how careers progress. Look at a first-line manager, say a team lead for software developers. For them, technical skills are everything. They have to be able to review code and solve tech problems to have any credibility with their team. Now let's jump all the way to top management, the CEO or the CTO. Their need for hands-on technical skills? It's way, way lower. The CEO doesn't need to write code anymore. She hires the best engineers in the world for that. Instead, her success depends almost entirely on world-class conceptual skills, setting the 5-year strategy, seeing market shifts before they happen, deciding what new business to get into. But notice the one constant, the one skill that remains critically important across all 3 levels: human skills. Whether you're a brand new supervisor or a seasoned CEO, management is and always will be about getting things done through other people. That skill never ever becomes less important.
Okay, so we've just seen the different levels of management: top, middle, and first line. That gives us a vertical map of an organization. But to really get the full picture, we also need to understand the horizontal differences. Not all managers on the same level are doing the same kind of work. So let's just quickly lock in this vertical map. At the very top, you've got the C-suite, the top managers. Their focus is long-term and looks outward. They're worried about the overall health and direction of the entire company, setting that grand strategy. Below them, you find the middle managers, people like department heads or division directors. They're the crucial translators, taking the big, broad strategies from the top and turning them into concrete plans and policies for their teams. And at the base, we have the lower level or first-line managers, the supervisors and team leads. These folks are on the front lines, dealing with the day-to-day operations and directly guiding the employees who are actually making the product or delivering the service.
Now, let's look across that hierarchy. Think about it like this. Let's use a car company like Ford. A line manager is the person running the F-150 assembly line. Their work directly creates the company's main product. A staff manager might be the head of the legal department. They don't build trucks, but they provide the essential expert support that lets the line managers do their jobs. A general manager has a much wider scope. They might be the president of Ford Europe, in charge of everything from manufacturing to sales to marketing for an entire continent. And finally, a project manager is a specialist in temporary jobs. They might be put in charge of launching the new electric Mustang, pulling people from design, engineering, and marketing to hit one specific time-sensitive goal.
We've defined management, we've outlined its process, and we've mapped all the players. But what does a manager actually do all day? The legendary theorist Henry Mintzberg argued that those neat little labels like planning or organizing don't capture the chaotic, fragmented reality of the job. He said being a manager is less like a conductor and more like a plate spinner, constantly switching between 10 distinct roles. This is where we see management as a performance.
So the first category of roles is interpersonal, and it's all about human interaction. As a figurehead, the manager is doing symbolic stuff, cutting the ribbon at a new office, handing out service awards. It's the ceremonial side of leadership. In the leader role, the manager is directly motivating, training, and coaching their team. This is where they build the culture and really drive performance. And as a liaison, the manager is building a network, acting as a bridge to other departments or to people outside the company, gathering information and support along the way.
The second category is informational roles. Basically, managers are the nerve centers of their teams. In the monitor role, they're constantly scanning the world for information, reading industry news, talking to their network, listening for rumors about a new competitor. Then, as a disseminator, they take that crucial information from the outside and pass it down to their team members who need it. Finally, as a spokesperson, they do the reverse. They transmit information from inside their team to the outside world, updating their own boss, presenting results to other teams, or even talking to the press.
But, collecting information is pretty useless if you don't do anything with it. And that brings us to the final and most critical category, decision-making roles. As an entrepreneur, the manager is the one starting change, launching new projects, finding ways to improve things. As a disturbance handler, they are the firefighter, reacting to sudden crises. A key supplier goes out of business, a top employee quits. As a resource allocator, they make the tough calls about who gets the money, the time, and the people. And finally, as a negotiator, they represent their team in major discussions, whether it's with a labor union or a huge client. The big idea from Mintzberg is that a manager's job isn't this neat, organized process. It's a chaotic juggling act. A manager could shift from being a negotiator to a leader to a disturbance handler, all within a single 30-minute meeting.
Phew, we have covered a ton of ground. The core definition, the 4-part process, the 3 essential skills, the organizational map, and the 10 dynamic roles a manager plays. But here's the thing. This isn't just academic theory. This is a practical, real-world framework for anyone who is, or wants to be, a leader. Let's bring these powerful ideas right down to earth. Think about your own career path for a second. A startup founder basically lives and breathes the entrepreneur and resource allocator roles, right? Making huge decisions with very little information and even less money. A mid-level corporate manager has to be an amazing liaison and disseminator, connecting that grand strategy from above with the detailed work happening below. A project manager, they have to be masters of the leader and negotiator roles to convince a team of people who don't even report to them to deliver something amazing on time and on budget. You see, the context changes, the titles are different, but the fundamental challenges and the tools to solve them, they stay the same. Understanding this framework gives you a map and a compass to navigate any leadership challenge you'll ever face. It lets you figure out what's going on and consciously choose the right role and the right skill for any situation. All right, time for a quick knowledge check. Let's go back to our 3 core skills: conceptual, human, and technical. Which one of those did we say was the universal constant? The one that's absolutely critical whether you're a first-time supervisor or a C-suite executive? The answer, of course, is human skills. Technology will change, markets will shift, but the fundamental challenge of working with and through people, that is the unchanging heart of management. It's the one skill you can never, ever stop working on.
Okay, one more. This one's a little more subtle. Let's think back to Mintzberg's roles. We have the figurehead and the leader, and they're both in that interpersonal category. What's the real difference? Well, the figurehead role is about symbolic, ceremonial duties that just come with the job. It's representative. The leader role, though, is about the direct, active, hands-on work of motivating, communicating with, and developing your team. It's interactive. A person can be a figurehead without being a true leader, but a true leader has to master both.
So what's the big takeaway here? Management is so much more than a collection of business school theories. It is the essential, dynamic process of turning human talent, money, and raw information into something valuable. It's the discipline of choosing the right things to do and then doing those things right. It's about building a toolkit of conceptual, human, and technical skills and knowing exactly which one to pull out at the right time.
And it's about fluidly shifting between a dozen different roles to handle the chaotic demands of the day. Ultimately, management is the architecture of success. It is the backbone that gives strength, structure, and forward momentum to every great human endeavor.